The Sephora Savings Event is coming. Are you ready to get
this and that? I don't gotta choose.
You're right. You don't. Shop all your favorite makeup, skincare, hair care, and fragrances for less. Find brands like Rare Beauty, Glow Recipe, Valentino, K18, and everything else you want on sale starting November 1st. The Sephora Savings Event is almost here. Shop the sale at Sephora and Sephora at Kohl's. Limitations apply. Must be a beauty insider. See terms at Sephora.com for complete details.
If you're a facilities manager at a warehouse and your HVAC system goes down, it can turn up the heat, literally. But don't sweat it. Grainger has you covered. Grainger offers over 1 million industrial-grade products for all your operations, including warehouse HVAC maintenance. And even better, they offer access to experts and fast delivery, so you and your warehouse can both keep your cool. Call 1-800-GRAINGER, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
Hello and welcome into the Birds of the Roundtable for yet another Victory Tuesday episode of the podcast. I am your host, Shane Haff. You can follow me on Twitter at Shane Haff NFL, joined as always by the Birds of the Roundtable crew. We've got Dibes. Give him a follow on Twitter at Mr. Crockpot. Dibes, how you doing tonight?
Doing well, man. Got a lot of fun things to talk about tonight. Should be another fun week if things go according to plan.
Absolutely. Also joined by David. Give him a follow on Twitter at PHL Eagle News. David, how's it going, man?
It's going wonderful, man. I enjoyed Dives advertising for Snap a Slim Jim prior to the show, so we should see if there'll be a sponsor.
Absolutely. I'm all if anybody would like to pay us money to do podcasts and eat your food on our podcasts, hit us up in our DMs.
There's nothing better than podcasting after a trunk or treat. I got chocolate. I've got popcorn. I've got it all.
Absolutely. Extracting that dad tax. You got to love that. Also joined by Ryan. Give him a follow on Twitter at Philly Sports PSA. Ryan, how's it going?
It's great. It's good to be back. I had a week off and ready to talk some Birds.
I like that you're decked out in all the Kelly Green gear.
I'm ready. I'm always ready.
It threw me today because I was in NFL Pro going through the All-22 and the Eagles logo was the throwback logo. And I didn't realize they were doing Kelly Greens this week. I was like, I wonder why they changed that. And then I saw the announcement on Twitter later. It's like, that makes sense. But also it kind of annoyed me that the logo was wrong for this game in NFL. Anyways, that doesn't matter. We're here to talk about the Eagles' second straight blowout victory, this time over the Cincinnati Bengals. We're going to break it down, give you our top takeaways on both sides of the football, shout out our player of the games, and then we'll get into the Eagles' upcoming matchup with the Jacksonville Jaguars. And so, Ryan, I'll throw it to you first here. What was your offensive takeaway from this game?
Is that Jalen Hurts looked really good, honestly. This is the now third game in a row where Hurts has no turnovers, and except for one, kind of egregious play to Kenny Gainwell, which if he would have listened to me, I would have told him never to throw to Kenny Gainwell in the first place. But, still, I thought he has been solid the last couple of weeks. And not only he was that, even more so on Sunday against the Cincinnati Bengals, who have a kind of a sneaky, a decent defense there, just kind of giving the eyeball test. But Hurts is starting to look a little a la 2022.
Yeah, hopefully so. Hopefully he can keep building on that. It was the highest EPA per play production game of his entire career. I went and looked that all back up later, which by the way, can we just start a petition to include EPA in the official game logs? Because it's really annoying to have to go look up each individual game's EPA in databases that are super slow. That was really annoying to me. And I should have made a spreadsheet as I was doing it, but I didn't. And so now I'm going to have to repeat it all after he lights up the Jaguars this week. But I digress. David, what was your offensive takeaway?
I think Ryan nailed it. It's Jalen Hurts outplayed a quarterback who everybody thinks is better than him, and he outplayed him with his arm. He was more efficient with the opportunities. I think he was 9-9 for 150 passing yards and 3 touchdowns in the second half. He's looked like a different quarterback since he came out the break. He's been 42 of 59, 9 touchdowns, just as importantly, 0 turnovers. He's been really impressive. And also a shout out to the O-line, allowing 0 sacks this week. They helped pave the way for another impressive ground attack. I think they totaled 161 yards, 3 touchdowns, 2 from Hurts. Fred Johnson neutralizing his former teammate and premier pass rusher Trey Hendrickson. That was very impressive. I think that they had 24 pass blocking snaps and they only allowed 3 pressures in the whole game. So the impressive work from the offensive line allowed Jalen to have some time, allowed him to move around in the pocket. I really like the intentional runs that they had in there. They threw the ball over the middle. I think he was like 6 of 6 throwing the ball over the middle. It was just an impressive performance all around.
Yeah, absolutely. He looked really good in the game, made some high quality throws, had some really good scrambles, obviously had the one bad decision, the throw to Kenny Gainwell, which fortunately hit the turf. And Eagles fans know a lot about should be interceptions hitting the turf from their defensive players. So we might get into that later, but yeah, really good performance from Hurts in the offense. Dives, what was your offensive takeaway?
Yeah, David stole my thunder. I was going to go offensive line, and Jeff Stoutland we trust. I thought Fred Johnson, Tyler Steen continue to play exceptional football. I'll just piggyback off of Jalen Hurts and just say Kellen Moore, because I always cheat on this show. But 34 plays from the Eagles under center. That's the last 2 weeks. The previous 5 weeks before that, it was less than that, like 31 snaps under center. Jalen Hurts in play action was 5 of 6, 114 yards and a touchdown. Just across the board, amazing. Against the blitz, Jalen Hurts was 4 of 5 for 50 yards. So there's been a lot of like enlightening stuff happening with the offense, whether that's the pistol or being under center or more play action. My God, utilizing the middle of the field with A.J. Brown. What the hell is this team? There's some fun things happening. You could talk about Ben Van Sumeren, more fullback Ben Van Sumeren leading the way for Saquon in the guts of the game in the second half. That's kind of maybe a new pattern we see going forward. In fact, I want to see BVS even more involved going forward. So for me, it's not just Jalen Hurts. It's the transformation of the offense, very similar to what we're seeing on defense.
Yeah, I want to see them. You know, I've wanted under center for a long time, and we're finally getting it. And the Eagles were under center for 21 snaps in this game. They were in pistol for 5 snaps, 26 total snaps, not in shotgun. Now, the maybe minor tell there is that 93% of those were run plays. And so now we need to build the passing game off of that, but it's moving in that direction. And the Eagles ran a play action leak play out of shotgun. Nobody runs that out of shotgun. Like that's an under center concept, and they ran it out of shotgun. They completed it out of shotgun, but like the concepts are there, and I'm hopeful they'll continue to like flesh that out. Like I'm not saying you should never be in shotgun. Like I thought this game was a good split. You would just like to see some more passes out of shotgun to make teams respect the pass. But, you know, there's several times that they went under center where they love to run the ball. They rarely throw it. And the Bengals stayed with 2 high safeties because you do still have to respect A.J. Brown and Devontae Smith deep. And I guess I'll give a shout out too to Devontae Smith, that deep ball, the way he stacked Jordan Battle, flashes the late hands. Like, I mean, it looked like A.J. Brown out there with the way he did that. And so the Eagles have 2 really good receivers, and teams have to respect that. It opens up everything else. And so, you know, all around, just a great performance. Nice to see the offense becoming less stagnant and more looks being thrown at him. So we do have a comment here about the Vikings trading for Cam Robinson from the Jaguars, and I'm sure we're going to get into that a little bit when we get to the preview portion of the show. But before we do that, let's flip it over to the defensive side of the ball, and let's talk our top defensive takeaways. Dibes, I'll give this one to you first.
I'm just blown away. Freddie Freeman just hit another home run. That guy is possessed. My God. Anyway. Oh, geez. I mean, there's so many defensive takeaways. I'll take the layup in this one. I made an all-22 video of this. Give me Quinyon Mitchell and Cooper DeJean versus Jamar Chase. And just in general, these last 3 weeks, this duo has been phenomenal. But just like I said, the defense has been transformed since the bye week, locking up Malik Neighbors. This time it was Jamar Chase, holding him to 54 yards, the second lowest of the year. In the last 3 games, this two have allowed 10 receptions on 19 targets for 62 yards combined. The Cooper DeJean upgrade is insane. It's just insane what he does as a blitzer, as a run defender, in coverage. The one play, the 4th and 1, where he hit Jamar Chase for a loss was one of my favorite plays, and might be one of my favorite plays of the season when it's all wrapped up. I remember on our post-game show saying, like, there were 2 plays in this game that almost blew out my vocal cords. It was the Devontae Smith touchdown, and it was the 4th and 1 Cooper DeJean tackle for loss. That was insane. So just not enough. There's not enough ways to express how amazing that draft was. I mean, Howie has had some misses when it comes to making trades and things like that for Jahan Dotson. It's what it is. But my gosh, we're going to be talking about Cooper DeJean and Quinyon Mitchell for years to come.
Yeah, they look like the real deal. Has there ever been like such an instant upgrade mid-season as going to the backup slot corner for the Eagles this year? Like the upgrade that he's been over Avonte Maddox has been incredible. And you know, and I hate Avonte Maddox's career arc because he was a really talented player coming out, and he gave the Eagles some good years, but the injuries just stacked up for him and ultimately couldn't stay healthy and lost some of that athleticism. And you hate to see that, but it's been incredible to watch Cooper DeJean come in and immediately make an impact. And he's not perfect, but he's made some really impactful plays. And the back angle of that 4th and 1 is incredible because Jamar Chase like motions and then fakes going back and then releases out the direction he was going. And Cooper DeJean tracks him the whole way and makes that tackle. So he's been a lot of fun to watch for sure. David, I'll throw it to you. What was your defensive takeaway? That
the Philadelphia Eagles have 2 starting linebackers that were PFF's highest ranked linebackers of the week with a 90.7 and 91.3 grade. And just as importantly, they have improved week over week. Bond and Dean are going back and forth trading weeks with who gets the most tackles. It is probably the most exciting thing I've seen on the defense outside of what he just mentioned with Cooper DeJean. I mean, I don't believe anybody went into the season thinking the Eagles would have top 10 linebackers, much less a week where they ranked 1 and 2 successively. And I'd also like to shout out, Fangio. He seems to decipher what opposing offenses are trying to do, and then he makes those in-game adjustments after the first 10 to 15 plays. The Bengals changed up a lot of their previous tendencies. If you watch their game tape, they were using motion more, trying to get, a feel for what the Eagles were doing defensively, trying to hide, what they were disguising. And it worked early. That first drive, they went right down the field. But after that, man, after Fangio deciphered what they were doing, the Bengals only scored 7 points the last 35 minutes of the game. I think the Fangio effect, we're finally starting to see it.
Yeah, absolutely. Brian, what's your defensive takeaway?
Yeah, listen, David definitely took a good one there. This seems to be the theme for the season is the in-game adjustments. And, obviously, Dives talked about the rookies and, on post-game, I had kind of, jokingly alluded to the fact that looks like we're going to be all right post Darius Slay. But yeah, I mean, this team is finally coming together and coming into their own identity. And it seems to be, kind of a physical defense. They seem to be, hitting people. Their missed tackle rate is certainly going down. And they're playing with physicality that has been missing from this team for quite some time, and it's now showing. And I think that the rookies are certainly sparking that. The linebacking play is certainly sparking that. So it's really good to see it kind of all come together, and actually have a halfway decent defense, maybe outside of the first drive or two.
Yeah. I want to shout out Nolan Smith. Nolan Smith continues to stack really good games. And, over the he gets a sack, and ultimately he only gets a half a sack, but he gets a sack in this game on a really nice pass rush move. He had another nice pass rush move that he wasn't able to finish the sack on. But over the last 3 games, he has 6 pressures and 3 sacks. Last season, in the entire season, he had 9 pressures and 2 sacks. And so Nolan Smith continues to be really good as a run defender, but he's showing a nice ghost move. He's able to get after the quarterback a little bit now, and that's been really nice, especially since, Bryce Huff has started slower than you wanted him to, and Brandon Graham's played so many snaps. Nolan Smith looks like he's coming along, and that's something I didn't think that we were going to see when we weren't seeing a pass rush move in the preseason, early in this season. I thought, man, we got to wait another year to see it. And he's starting to show some things here. So that's great to see, all the young guys on the defense that are stepping up and making plays. And I mean, honestly, like, the entire defense is young, with the exception of Darius Slay. And sidebar, and this isn't a statement on Slay's play, because I think Slay's been really good. If I'm the Eagles, I would seriously consider keeping him out for the next 2 weeks, because he was banged up. What was it? Last week, he got banged up. He comes back into that game and finishes it. He starts this game out, and then he gets banged up again. And you're playing the Jaguars this week. Like, you shouldn't need Slay. Like, you should feel good with Isaiah Rodgers in this matchup. You got the Cowboys the next week, and you don't ever want to count the Cowboys out, but you've got Washington on Thursday night right after that. And so I would definitely keep Slay out this week. I would consider maybe putting him on a snap count that Dallas game, because I am concerned about, Slay's played more physically, and I think he's played really well. I'm concerned about him falling off as the season goes along if injuries continue to mount for him. So I want to get him healthy, and I think this week would be a great time to do that. So that's me not saying bench Darius Slay, Quentin. That's me saying I'd give him the week off this week if it was me, but just have him pull an Anthony Richardson and say he's tired. So, all right. That is our top offensive and defensive takeaways. Let's get into our player of the games. David, I'll give this one to you first. Who was your player of the game?
I mean, I have to go with Jalen Hurts. I think I picked him to be player of the game, so I have to stick with him. He moved to second place on the Eagles' all-time rushing touchdown list with his game-tying second touchdown of the day. And then his first one. Then he added 2 more for the hat trick. They were designed runs that, it just looked different. He outplayed Joe Burrow. He was just the difference in this game. I think it was the best game we've seen from him in 18 months, probably. But probably have to go back to the 2022 season where he had a complete game like this. So he gets my game ball.
All right. Game ball to Jalen Hurts from David. Ryan, what do you have?
Yeah, that was the easiest layup in the history of layups there. But yeah, listen, I'm going to do what I do, and I'm going to just, if I can't get the easy win, I'm going to, upset somebody. So I'm going to steal Dibes' answer and say Cooper DeJean. Listen, I think he announced himself, in all honesty. There's 2, great tackles there. The one on Chase and then the one down in the red zone were crucial, huge moments in this game. And listen, people are starting to pay attention to the rookie cornerback.
Absolutely. All right. So we've got a Cooper DeJean, a Jalen Hurts. Dives, where are you going for your player of the game?
I'm going to stick with my gut. As it was my initial feeling during the post game, I'm going to stick with it tonight. Jeff Stoutland.
He's not a player.
I don't care. It's next man up mentality for this offensive line, and I give credit for the offense sticking with the run. It was an efficient offense. It was a 2022 Eagles offense where the longest run Saquon had was 19 yards, and this was an offense that has been living and dying with explosive plays for the most part outside of week one. So for me, give me Jeff Stoutland. Fred Johnson held Trey Hendrickson to one pressure. Tyler Steen still has 0 allowed sacks so far. I just am blown away by the depth of this Eagles offensive line, and I thought they were dominant. I know the Bengals don't really have a dominant defensive line by any stretch of the imagination, but I love the way they just destroyed them in the second half, and using the run game and using Jalen Hurts more so in the run game to set up the pass.
I make a motion that the next time Dives starts to pick a player of the game that's not a player, we mute his microphone and don't allow him to talk anymore.
I'll second that one.
All right. We'll take a roll call vote. David? All right, we're good. So next time we're muting.
So basically, we're just going to mute Dives for half the episode.
Yeah, maybe so.
Yeah.
I'll give Zach Bond player of the game then. I thought Zach Bond, I could have gone with either linebacker, to be honest, because they both played really well. But I'll give it to Zach Bond. He led the team in stops. He led the team in tackles. He was pretty good in coverage. He punches the ball out, forces a fumble that Nakobe Dean recovers, which Nakobe Dean stands the guy up. And so, it's all in tandem. And I loved that Nakobe Dean brought the ball to Zach Bond on the sideline and said he wanted him to have it. The vibes are back. You get stuff like that. I tweeted out a couple clips today, one where Lane Johnson is running down the field, motioning first down behind Saquon. There was another one where Saquon is on one of the Jalen Hurts runs that Saquon lead blocks for. He hits the defensive tackle, and then Jalen's past him, and Saquon's dancing down the field. The vibes are back for the Eagles. They're having fun. You can see it. And so I'll give it to Zach Bond, though. I thought he played really well in this one. I also want to give a shout out to Will Shipley. It's got to suck to come into the game and get your first touchdown and it gets negated by a penalty. And so then they're like, all right, we'll hand it to you again. And you get planted for a 4-yard loss because your tight end gets blown up. That's got to suck.
Yeah. So, Gates owes Shipley a nice steak dinner.
Yeah.
That was an angry run too. That was a determined angry run.
Yeah, he did a good job of getting Skinny through the hole. He finished through contact into the end zone. It was a good run. I'd like to see Shipley a little bit more, and that's
more than Gainwell.
I would like my pipe dream is I would like to see Saquon a little less in a certain. I want this version of Saquon in January, and. Yeah. I don't want this version of Saquon to get run into the ground. So, I'm sure that they're managing all that. They've got eyes on it, and they've done a good job. Saquon's been pulled out the last 2 games. And so let's keep blowing teams out, and let's keep getting Kenny Gainwell and Will Shipley some runs. So, okay. Comment here asking if Fangio is calling the D differently since the bye. Yes, absolutely. They got rid of a lot of the cover 3 crap they were trying to do at the beginning of the year, and they're playing split. This is shocking. Fangio's defense is playing Fangio defenses. It's great. And they have also stopped playing so far off. They've gotten tighter to receivers, which is a byproduct of having a safety over the top. So
noticeable difference.
Yeah, they've definitely played differently.
If I can make one comment before we move on, 2 comments actually. One, the Eagles' opponents have only averaged 13.8 points per game since week 3, which is a product of everything Shane just said. And with the game that we just watched, shout out to both franchises for making the reunion of twin brothers, Sydney and Chase, special by anointing them both captains for their respective teams during that game. I thought that was really class act by both organizations there and really made that moment special for them.
Yeah. One more comment here, and then we'll roll on, is predictions on a trade deadline target for the Eagles. I give a big thumbs down. And Vic Fangio echoes that, by the way. He was asked today about positions he might target at the trade deadline, what he was interested in. He said nothing because trade deadline acquisitions rarely work out. So,
not wrong, but
and I can't imagine what you would go for on the offense. It would have to be defense. And so seeing that Fangio doesn't seem interested, I'm just saying I would have easily given up a 6th round pick for Josh Uche, but that's fine. I don't think they're going to make a move.
The one move I would have done is like maybe a tight end with upside, and Grant Calcaterra is starting to get some targets and make some nice plays. So I don't know if you even do that now.
I would, because I still don't want to see Jack Stoll and his mullet out there.
I don't know if Jack Stoll wants to be out there after the shot he took on that sprint rollout play that he got hurt on. But he's like, man, I'm supposed to block people, not catch passes. All right, let's turn the page and let's get into this upcoming matchup with the Jacksonville Jaguars, the Fighting Doug Petersons, potentially. Actually, I don't even know if he's fighting for his job. I think it's all over at this point. But Ryan, what's your top matchup to watch?
Yeah, listen, I think the matchup here is going to be those young DBs versus the Jacksonville wide receivers, because right now you don't know who's coming out there for the Jacksonville side. Their top guys have been hurt. You kind of just alluded to, what I would have loved to do is give Slay a little rest here. And what a perfect time to do it against, a team that, is might be, starting. God, I don't even know who would be starting, because Kirk is hurt. Thomas is hurt. Yeah.
Let's play a game called Can You Name Another Receiver that plays? He's questionable as well.
Yeah, he is questionable. So
Parker Washington out of Penn State, right?
Yeah,
he's still in the league.
He might be wide receiver 1 in this game.
Ouch. So
Parker Washington, Tim Jones.
Oh yeah.
Big. That's literally it on their roster that's not on IR or questionable.
So basically for the unknown, and given the rookie nature of our DBs, that's what I'm going to be kind of looking at, because maybe they can eat, and maybe we might be seeing, I don't know, one of our first picks of the year for one of the young rooks.
That would be nice. It's got to be Cooper DeJean. Quinyon Mitchell's never catching one. I just don't believe it's ever going to happen.
Say that. Don't say that.
He's going to have like 18 pass breakups, 0 picks.
Yeah.
We should all do something when he gets his first interception, because his hands are so bad. Like he's so great at everything else. It's just his hands are terrible.
Yeah. All right. David, what is your top matchup to watch?
Muted.
You're muted, David.
Muted, man.
We back?
Yeah. We never left.
With Jalen Hurts versus the Jaguars' sad defense. They have given up 224 points this season. Only one team's given up more. That was the Panthers. They're averaging 28 points a game. They give up on defense. They have a negative 52-point differential. I think they're 31st against the pass. They might be 32nd, but they're giving up 271 passing yards per game. I think Jalen Hurts and the passing game will feast early. I think we're going to score points in the first quarter for the first time this season. I think it's going to be a blowout. I think it's going to be the 4th win in a row. So give me Jalen Hurts, and then give me him sitting for the last 15 minutes of the game like they did against the Giants.
All right. By the way, shout out to the Bengals for going on that 10-minute drive to open the game. so the Eagles could score on their first possession, and we can still trot out the Eagles haven't scored a first quarter point this season. Like, I was actively rooting for that when the Eagles got the ball. I was like, as we started to drive, I was like, do not score before the first quarter ends. I want to be able to talk about this later. So shout out to the Bengals for that. Dives, what's your matchup to watch?
I like Tech's comment, shave your heads when Q gets an interception. We could do a show without hats.
Beards.
That I like.
He wants Shane to shave his beard.
Yeah.
Not happening.
He'll lose all his power.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm going to go with the Eagles defense, pass defense versus tight end Evan Ingram. You nailed it, Ryan. Like, who steps up with Christian Kirk out for the season? Some numbers: when Christian Kirk went down against the Bengals last season, in 11 games before Kirk went down, Ingram averaged 5.8 catches and 47 yards per game, 0 touchdowns. After Christian Kirk went down, Evan Ingram averaged 8.3 catches and 73 yards per game and caught 4 touchdowns in 6 games. So we talked about Parker Washington and all that stuff, but I think it's going to be Evan Ingram. I think probably the guy that benefits the most out of all this, and how the Eagles handle him. I'm not really worried about it. I don't think it's a top-notch matchup whatsoever. But could he be a guy that gives them some matchup issues? Probably. So keep an eye out on Evan Ingram.
All right. I'm going to keep an eye on Fred Johnson again, because he's coming off of a really good game. The Eagles helped him out at times against Trey Hendrickson. Trey Hendrickson was really the only threat that the Bengals had rushing the passer. Travon Walker started to play a little bit better for the Jags. He's not a guy you're scared of, but he's starting to play a little bit better. But Josh Allen rushing off that other edge is going to be matched up with Fred Johnson a lot. And Josh Allen has 32 pressures this year on 251 pass rush snaps. He hasn't got a lot of sacks. He's only got 4 sacks, but he's pressuring at a high rate. Can Fred Johnson pull another one out of the hat? Like, it's been really weird. Like, he comes in for Lane injured and played well, but then with like a full week to prepare, he struggled. Then he switches sides and struggled. And then with the full week to prepare, he played really well. And so, he's been up and down. Will they be able to, block up Josh Allen? That's probably one of the biggest matchups I'm going to watch, especially when the Eagles are on the field. So give me Josh Allen versus Fred Johnson. Or I could say Jeff Stoutland and pull a Dives, but I won't do that.
You don't want to go.
Got a comment coming in here from YouTube. If only the Jaguars could defend the ball as well as Doug Peterson defends Press Taylor. It's remarkable that Press Taylor is going to cost Doug Peterson 2 head coaching jobs. Find somebody that loves you, despite your faults, the way that Doug Peterson loves Press Taylor. So, all right, let's roll into our picks segment. Well, before we do that, does anybody else have anything they want to throw out on this matchup before we get into the picks?
No.
Okay.
No.
All right. Well, let's get into our picks, where I dominated last week. Hit 7 of the picks. Got into that tie with Dives for first place, although we don't ever check his math. He could have made this whole thing up, but that's all right. Let's roll into our week 9 picks against the Jaguars. We'll start off with the one that we do not score, which is player of the game. Ryan, who do you have for your player of the game prediction?
I'm going to go A.J. Brown.
All right. I got an A.J. Brown from Ryan. David, what do you have?
I'm going to ride it out. I'm taking Jalen Hurts. I think the Jaguars are in big trouble. I think he's going to get 3 touchdowns this week.
All right. David has Jalen Hurts. I'll take Devontae Smith then. Their pass defense is so unbelievably bad. They're like 32nd in DVOA, 31st in yards per game allowed, 32nd in EPA. This is a terrible pass defense. So I'll take Devontae Smith. Dives, Grant Calcaterra.
I was going to go Jalen Hurts. We can't do repeats, right? Can we do repeats?
No, not on this.
All right.
This one's not scored.
Yeah, I'll do Saquon. Give me Saquon. I mean, they gave up a lot of yards to Josh Jacobs last week. 99 between the tackles. Yeah, I mean, this defense is not good. So give me a defense that is very capable of allowing a lot of explosive plays. Maybe Saquon gets a few big plays. Give me Saquon.
All right, let's go score predictions. Dibes, what do you have?
Man, I did this last night, and I'm going to stick with it. I never do this, and I hear it's a trap game, but I feel like this team is trending in all the right ways. I went 40-14. Eagles get the W. I just see the Eagles steamrolling the Jaguars in every respect.
All right. Dives predicting the blowout. Ryan, what do you have?
I'm going to go 34-18.
Jaguars?
Yeah, naturally.
All right. David, what do you got?
Ryan and I are close. I went 34-13.
Yeah, the Eagles win a year without winning a game by more than 8 points. And now they're coming off of back-to-back blowout victories. Everybody in the fan base is riding high. The Eagles are coming back home. It is Kelly Green week.
Here it comes.
This is the prime time for the letdown game. We're too excited about the Eagles at this moment in time. But I'm still taking the Eagles. 35-13 Eagles. But I'm going to clip off my score and tweet the clip if something bad happens. Sorry, 35-17 is what I meant to say. 35-17 for the Eagles. The Jaguars, Trevor Lawrence scares you because he can have some good game. He's a good quarterback, but he's also turnover prone. But he's just got no weapons out there this week. This is a game the Eagles should dominate, from the opening kickoff. And let's get that first quarter touchdown this game. We've got Brett Eclipse with a comment from YouTube. Bold prediction, Jahan Dotson gets his first Eagles touchdown. Nobody took the Jahan Dotson player of the game. Maybe somebody should have.
Nope.
Crabby Old Man chimes in and says, am I the only one who hates Kelly Green? Yes. I hate it. Yeah. From a guy named Crabby Old Man, it surprises me that the old jerseys aren't liked. I like him. I don't want to replace the midnight green with them, but I much prefer the old logo to the new one, but I like both of the colors. So it makes him crabby. Would you guys change to Kelly Green for the normal jersey, or do you like it better as a throwback?
I love it. I'm always, I don't understand it. I don't understand this concept of the Kelly Green jersey's like overrated. I think it's the sexiest jersey
in sports.
It's right up there.
Yeah. I do like it how it's kind of just selective, but it kind of makes it special. But I'd certainly be all right if they changed it.
All right, David, would you change it or stick with the midnight green?
I'd stick with it. It is my favorite jersey, but I like the definitive different era look of each jersey.
It's because I grew up wearing the old school. When I was little, I would go to Veterans Stadium wearing those vintage Kelly Green starter jackets. I love just like what Ryan's wearing, and those were the shit, man. So it's feels part of me.
I have many of them. Yeah.
All right. Well, let's keep rolling here with our over-unders. Let's go Jalen Hurts, total touchdowns at 2.5. Dibes, what do you have?
Yeah, I'm shocked we're all going over a little bit. How do you say under? I'm going to go over. It's just
you don't say under if you picked 40 points.
I know. That's what I'm saying. It's got to be over.
Yeah. All right. Ryan?
Oh, it's an easy over.
Yeah, I'm taking the over as well. David's taking the over. So all overs all around on Hurts, 2.5 touchdowns.
Yeah.
Over under Trevor Lawrence passing yards, 249.5. I am taking the under on this one. He got nobody to throw the football to. Even though they're going to be throwing a lot. I don't think he gets over 249. David, what do you think?
Who is the Jaguars' backup quarterback? Does anyone know?
I can look it up.
Mac Jones.
Yeah.
Didn't they trade for?
I'm taking the under, and I suspect we'll be seeing him in the fourth quarter.
All right.
Oh, wow.
Ryan?
It's under, but he plays the whole game. Nobody wants to see Mac Jones.
All right. Dibes, what do you got?
Wait, David, you said under. Ryan, you said under?
Oh, yeah.
I'll go over.
All right. Grant Calcaterra versus Evan Ingram. Who has more receiving yards, Dibes?
Jesus
Oh,
Christ.
I hate going last on this one. I'll go Ingram.
All right. Ryan?
Yeah, it's got to be Ingram.
I'll take Ingram too. I don't know who else Trevor Lawrence is throwing the football to. David?
It's a clean sweep. They have no one else to throw the football.
All right. Over under receptions for Brian Thomas Jr. 3.5. Question. Are we doing like what the sports books do and voiding this if he doesn't play?
Correct. Yeah.
Okay. Well, I'm taking the over then. If he plays, he's getting more than 3.5 receptions.
What did Jamar Chase have? Like 5?
Yeah, I think so. 5 or 6.
I'm going under. Because I
All
know
right, Dibes.
I'm going to go over.
All right, David, what do you got?
Under.
All right, over under total sacks for the Eagles at 2.5. Ryan, what do you got?
I'll say over.
All right. I'll take the over too. I think they got an interior offensive lineman that's questionable to go. Ezra Cleveland, their tackle situation's not the best. I think the Eagles defense gets them, especially because they're going to have to pass the ball a lot. David, what do you got?
I'm going over. He's been sacked 16 times already this year. Give me the over.
All right, Dibes.
I'm still thinking. What's the average time to release for Trevor Lawrence?
4 minutes.
Wow.
Trevor Lawrence, 2.66.
Yeah, he's fast.
That's faster than Joe Burrow. And what we have, like 1 sack against the Bengals? Give me the under.
65% of them are at his offensive lineman's feet, but yeah, he gets it out quick.
Somebody
David,
asked,
what did you say for this one?
Me?
Yeah.
Over for sacks.
Okay.
Somebody asked me on that one play that Jalen Carter just destroyed and Joe Burrow fired the ball into Nolan Smith's face mask. Somebody asked me if Nolan Smith gets a pass breakup for that. I was like, unfortunately not, but I think he should. Over under Saquon rushing yards, 119.5. Dibes, what do you got?
I mean, he's my player of the game. Give me the over.
All right, Ryan?
Yeah, it's an over.
I will take the under.
Is this a Kenny Gainwell game or a Will Shipley game?
Yeah, I was just about to say, I'm taking the under. Kenny Gainwell plus 50 yards rushing in this game.
Gross.
All right, so there you have it. There are our picks, our player of the game predictions, all that stuff. That's going to about wrap up this review preview episode. Thank you guys for joining in. Let's throw it around the horn. You guys give final thoughts. You can plug your stuff. Dibes, you're up first.
Final thoughts. I mean, this game is all about just continuation of everything we've seen since the bye week. There's no turnovers. Stop shooting yourself in the foot. This is probably the week. It's got to be the week that we score points in the first quarter. Plugs. Check out Party on Broad. I put out daily shorts on the Eagles, sometimes 2-3 a day, just on thoughts, news, matchups, a lot of stuff that we talk about here. So go check that out. All
right. David, final thoughts. Plug your stuff. The floor is yours.
You can follow everything I write at PHL Eagle News. I have a piece out now just from numbers that they've done. The Eagles have racked up since the bye week. I thought all along that the biggest adversary to the Eagles offense was themselves. They've kind of cleaned a lot of that up lately. So I've been pretty impressed with it. And I'd like to give a shout out to Nolan Smith, who was first overall with the 35.7 pass rush win rate this year. Saying that I thought he was the second best player in the 2023 draft has been hard to live through the past 20 months. So I am taking every victory lap I can get with the Nolan Smith love and his success the past few weeks.
All right. Ryan, final thoughts? Anything you want to plug? Floor's yours.
Yeah, you can follow me right here on the X. Also, I just wanted to mention that outside of the first quarter, the Philadelphia Eagles are the fifth most efficient offense right now. So clearly, it begs to differ that they need to figure out, their first quarter, and mostly it's because we're throwing the ball way too much. In those, other quarters, our split is about 52 to 48 in favor of the run. In those first quarter, it's about 60-40. So maybe if we keep that split going, maybe we'll actually score some points. So.
All right. I want to show a graph real quick, which isn't great for you guys listening on audio platforms, but I went and ran the team tiers, offense, defense, since the Eagles bye, so over the last 3 weeks. And the Eagles are right up there with the Lions and the Bills as the best teams in the NFL over the last 3 weeks of the season. The Eagles rank fourth in drop back EPA, second in rushing EPA. Defensively, they're 10th in pass defense. They're 8th in rushing defense. Jalen Hurts has the second highest success rate, the third highest EPA and completion percentage over expectation. Like, this is the Eagles team we thought we were going to get, and it took a little while. And I was saying at the beginning, like, I wasn't worried about the offense. I thought the offense would come. My concerns were on the defensive side of the ball. And so, it's nice to see the offense playing well. I expected that. I didn't expect this turnaround from the defense. And so hopefully they can keep a good thing going this week. Guys, if we take care of business this week, it's a solid month of the Eagles just doing what they should have done all along. And we can cruise through a month of the season having a blast. So hopefully that can happen. Hopefully we're back here next Tuesday for another Victory Tuesday episode. Dives, what do you got?
I want to throw back to before the bye week when it was such a different narrative back then. And I said this, like, we're going to see, 2-3 weeks after the bye week where it's going to convince ourselves that the Eagles don't have these massive problems. Do you buy what we're seeing right now? Do you buy?
I do.
Yeah? Okay.
The Bengals have a really good offense, and they moved the ball on the Eagles, and the Eagles certainly benefited from a couple of turnovers and some Zach Taylor stupidity on 3rd and 4th down there. But I'm buying what the Eagles are selling right now.
Okay.
All right. Well, that's going to do it. Thank you, everybody who joined in on this episode. We'll catch you guys next week for another episode. Be sure you're following these guys on Twitter. Dibes is at Mr. Crockpot. David is at PHL Eagle News. Ryan is at Philly Sports PSA. I am at Shane Half NFL, and we will catch you guys next time.